Welcome back to Valiant Minds Podcast. I am your host, Tabitha Olatonya. And as you know, Valiant Minds is an extension of Valiant's magazine. If you don't know by now, you should know. Make sure you check out the website and always listen to the previous episodes of Valiant Minds Podcast. I am here today with Chris Laque. Am I saying your last name correct?
That's Laque.
Laque. Okay, sorry about that. So I am here with Chris Laque today, and he was featured in issue 8 of Valiant's magazine. So, Chris, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. How is the weather over there? What part of Indiana are you in?
So I'm actually from Indianapolis, but I'm currently in Vail, Colorado. My fiance and I are in the process of transitioning over here. The weather up here is absolutely crazy. Dumping snow for an hour and then bright blue with sunny skies. It's wild.
That's crazy. Have you ever lived in Colorado before up until now?
I have not. First time.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy it. I've never been to Colorado, so I'm excited to hopefully visit one of these days. I've heard a lot of good things about it. But let's jump right into you being featured in Valiant's magazine. What do you do? Who is Chris Laque? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right, so I'm a chef. I've been into food since I was 14 years old. I started out at this Kickstart program called Area 31 in Ben Davis High School. And it was just an incredible opportunity. It was a chance for kids that were like 15, 16, 17 to all work in full functioning kitchens under CIA educated chefs. Like, you got young kids, juniors and seniors in high school is culturing their own sourdough and working a line, doing all of those things that are so incredible about food. So that's where I fell in love with food, and it just hasn't stopped. Ever since then, I've been working in the industry and pursuing higher education any way that I can, whether it be reading or hands-on training or culinary school itself. I'm just always in the kitchen, and that's just my biggest passion.
Okay, that's really awesome. So how long have you been cooking? How did you even get started in this to begin with?
10 years. So I started when I was 14. My first job was McDonald's. I'll be super upfront with that. It was great, though. It was really great. It's a chance to learn like those core skills that you need as a cook, your speed, accuracy, things like that. It's a great development program. But I'm the first of my family to really pursue professional cooking.
Okay.
Like I said, I just took the culinary course as a sophomore and realized, okay, this is it. And that's just who I've been ever since.
Yeah. Okay. So I read a little bit about your story, and it seems like you've kind of moved up the ladder, I guess, when it comes to being in culinary and being a chef and all of that. You've moved up pretty quickly. Tell me a little bit more about that process. You know, you started off doing your thing, and then now you are, I believe it's like you're in a kitchen where you pretty much run most of the things, right?
Yeah, so coming out of Indiana, I was the executive chef of Spoke and Steel and Le Meridian, which is a little boutique hotel. It's super cute. They have some awesome private dining spaces, some banquet spaces. They've got room for anything you want to do. The most incredible feature they have there is this little barrel room that they have set up downstairs where guests can come in. They'll work with our cocktail crafters and bartenders, our mixologists, and they'll create their own type of individualized cocktail and have it paired with dinner downstairs. It's incredible.
That's awesome.
But it was a long journey to get there, for sure. So when I first started out, I was 14, 15. I was working at McDonald's, and then I got an actual job in a kitchen called Pit Stop Barbecue in Brownsburg, which is pretty solid. They're definitely worth their grit. But started out there as a dishwasher, moved up to line cook, continued progressing the ladder. Eventually I got into culinary school, and my instructor, Cindy Hawkins, who ran Circle City Sweeps, I think she's now at 16 Tech, if I recall correctly. She got me a job at Black Market under Micah Frank, which was absolutely insane. So coming out of 4 years of barbecue experience, kind of family owned, low key, we're all a big family, jumping into a gastropub ran by this just insane and talented and genius of an individual. Micah Frank had a lot of follies for sure, but at the end of the day, he was extremely educated, and he instilled into me where I took direction as a chef. So his big focus was farm to table. It wasn't all about beautiful plating or things like that. It was about treating the food that was sourced from Indiana in the best way that it possibly could to ensure the guest has just the most incredible plate in front of them. And that's where I learned, okay, I like farm to table cooking. I like to keep things organic. I like to be very fresh, and I like to do seasonally rotating menus. And French cuisine was my go-to. Okay. From there, I got poached. There was a cook, Kristen York, who I'm actually up here at the Sebastian and Vale with, which is incredible because we've got like the whole band back together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she poached me from Black Market over to Spoken Steel, and it just started out there as a line cook, and as things progressed, I ended up taking a co-sous chef role with Jose Salvador, who's also a big beast. He's running some country club up north in Indy right now. I believe it's around Carmel. But then he grew up, he left, he took that country club role. I took the executive sous chef role, and a little bit before COVID hit, our executive chef Erin Gillum, which was awesome too, she bounced out and she's teaching at Area 31, which is where I came from. So full circle, absolutely crazy. But yeah, I took over the executive chef role slightly, just a little bit after that, and then I unveiled my full French fine dining menu, as I did. Got a couple of features in Indianapolis Monthly, got a couple of features in Indy Star. It was on Channel 8 for when like the riots were happening for the BLM movement. I decided I just wanted to help out in any way that I can, and then I produce food. So I just got up super early, like 3 in the morning, pumped out some donuts, some croissants, and beignets, and went out and handed them out around Indianapolis Circle Center, or the Monument Circle, and ended up getting a little news feature on Channel 8. So it's been an incredible path. Spoken Steel has been a great place to grow. I've now worked with a lot of people, and it's gotten me the opportunity to where I am now, because from Spoken Steel is how I met Chef Tyson, which is the executive chef over here at Leonora and the Sebastian Hotel. So he hit me up beginning of March and was just looking for any kind of help to get them through their peak season. So I had my kitchen set up pretty well. My guys are in line to keep things rolling, so I had the opportunity to come out here, and I just fell in love with it instantly. Within the first 2 days, I knew, okay, I'm moving to Colorado.
Yeah.
This is my new.
Wow, that's a really awesome story, and your journey seems like it's been incredible. One thing that stood out to me when you were saying all of that is you got the opportunity to create your own menu.
Yeah.
What does that entail in the sense of like you created like a menu for the restaurant, or is it more so like a menu for a night? Like what does that entail? How did you go about all of that?
Spoken Steel was a great opportunity because it allowed you to have pretty much full creative freedom with whatever you wanted. So first thing I did when I took over, Aaron was very seafood heavy, which is awesome, but it's not my style. My style is rustic, farm-to-table, hearth-baked breads, your French braises, your dips, all those kind of delicious things from French cuisine. So I decided that I wanted to do fine dining in French with a touch of molecular gastronomy, make it farm-to-table, and I mean, it's a huge challenge. So logistically, you have to think about how it works with a hotel. So Le Méridien is technically owned by Ambridge, which means the menu had to fit within Marriott brand standards and things like that. And then you also have to think logistically, how well is my staff trained? What is their experience level? How far can I go with this food to where they can reliably recreate it every night? So I just took influence from my favorite regions, which happens to be Alpine style cuisine, the Franche Comté and Swiss Alps, and things like that. So I ended up just trying to make it super simplistic and delicious, broth-based, hearty, earthy, and it went over super well. But I've also had opportunities to create full banquet menus. So I executed the event for Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've had the Dallas Mavericks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, so the Dallas Mavericks was the ones that I just had for March Madness. We had the officials stay and a couple of the big 4 teams. So I have been able to create like full banquet menus catering to all their kind of needs and things like that. It's a lot.
That's crazy.
But it's really fun. It's been really awesome to work with everybody, and I've gotten to network way more than I should have for somebody 24 years old now.
That is amazing. That's so amazing. That's what Valiant magazine is all about, is being able to tell the story of other people who not only are they in their journey, but have achieved some sort of success, and their story will hopefully impact the lives of others and also get them one step closer to achieving more greatness and more success. So to hear your story in the way that you're only 24 years old and you've achieved this much in this industry of culinary, like that's amazing. It's crazy. So just to kind of not switch gears, but to go back to the menu that you created. So how many different like foods, I guess is what you would call it, did you create?
So I think all in total the menu had 21 to 25 items, I think, and we had a rotating feature spot as well for whatever specials we wanted to run. But yeah, I mean, it's a full menu. My copy of it's in Indie. It's unfortunate. But yeah, if you just look up Indianapolis Monthly, Chris Laque French menu, there's an article with the full doing like the foie gras, quenelles and things like that. And it was awesome. It was a great experience.
That is amazing. All right, so now you've been talking a lot about French menu is what you kind of specialize in, and your last name is Laque. Do you have some French heritage?
I do have a little bit,
okay.
But I mean, it's not much. I'm a mix. It's not.
No, not
I don't
that
have
much.
like a grandparent coming out of France or anything like that.
Right.
Like way down the line, but nothing to put on my shoulder.
So what drew you to being specialized when it comes to French, cuisines? What made you go into that specifically?
I mean, I've tried a few styles of cuisine beforehand. Tried Mesoamerican, Asian, did 4 years of barbecue, but a couple years of Italian. But when I got into that French kitchen with Micah, that's when things just clicked.
Okay.
Like, that's how my brain works. It's that idea of giving these ingredients the full and proper care that they need to reach their peak level, right? Like taking the time to brine your chicken and setting it out on a trebuchet, letting it dry for 2 days to develop that level of pellicle around side to provide a better sear and better flavor consumption, and fluting your mushrooms to allow them to be a better catalyst to soak up butter and salt and those things that we love. That's my focus. So I was just naturally drawn to that style of cuisine.
That's amazing. You just said all these different things that just like went over my head. But it sounds amazing because when you go to restaurants, you don't think about how did they prepare this? How long did it take to make it taste like this? So it's very, very cool to be able to hear it from your perspective as a chef, that you do all of these different things in preparation for food the next day. Like that's crazy. But that's really, really cool.
Some things are like a 4 or 5 day lead out in prep. I mean, I have vinegars on the shelf right now that have been going for 60 days and they're still not ready.
Wow.
Yeah,
so how do you...
I just love that kind of care.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. With having to wait for certain things that you use to cook, how do you go about, I guess, still presenting the food or having the food ready if something isn't ready? Like, how do you go about all of that and making sure that the food will be ready for dinner that night?
I mean, it just has to be ready. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When 5 o'clock rolls around, service is happening.
Right.
There's nothing around it. So, I mean, it's very militant when it comes down to it. You have to be up on the ball about everything. So I kept full checklist and prep list of items that needed to be produced. So if I noticed that I was running low on our house sourdough focaccia, I would write it down on my prep list, and here a couple days later I would get my culture fed and slacked out and start production. it's not too bad once you get up on it. You just have to keep up on it.
Right.
You have to make sure that you're vigilant in your kitchen about everything. It's hard. Like, don't get me wrong. It's very difficult work. It's a lot. It's 12-hour days, 5 to 6 days a week.
Wow.
But it's very rewarding when you put in the time and effort.
Absolutely.
You just got to stay hungry for it and stay passionate.
Absolutely. That's really good. So how do you, with being so busy, like you said, 12 hours a day, sometimes 5 to 6 days a week, and earlier I did hear you mention that you moved out there with your fiance. So how do you balance your work life and your home life or your personal life? How do you balance that?
I wish I could say I had. No, part of the reason that we're moving out here is because it's just, you can literally walk outside here, walk for 5 minutes, and you're just in the middle of this incredible forest canopy. Like, it puts you into perspective so much. It's all day I'm tinkering, I'm cognitive, I'm focused directly right here, right now. Everything is so important and everything has to happen so fast. But in Colorado, when you step outside, you're surrounded by these 1,300-foot giants with like 7 different terrains. Like, it just makes you realize, okay, it's fine. We're going to take a step. We're going to breathe. And with chef schedules being so erratic, that's my ideal environment. Because whenever day I do happen to get off, we can just go hit up Sylvan Lake and go spelunking. We can hit up Mount Royal and climb a 12,000 foot mountain. It's just a nature lover's paradise. You can see my snowboards.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of the guys will like get up super early and they'll hit gondola and take like 2 or 3 runs before work. There's a couple of guys that have had like 160 days logged.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's a great place for it, for the chef life, anyways.
That's really nice. I'm glad that, you guys are able to, shift that gear, because I'm sure you've been working. So this has been like a nice shift with moving to Colorado to kind of bring you back to reality a little bit.
I've been literally on the grind since I was probably 15, 16.
Wow.
Like, from the moment that I started college, I've been working part-time college, full-time work, paying off for my degree. So I finally, it's done. My degree is completed. I have my associates with a minor in hospitality management.
Congratulations.
Completely debt-free. I have my car. I'm good to go. And with all the hard work that I put in over the past 8 years, getting everything set and ready, it's all just paying off, almost instantly. As soon as I came out here, there's just a plethora of opportunity.
Wow.
It's hard work and it's not fun, but at the end of it, it's so worth it.
Absolutely. Congratulations on getting your associates. That's really amazing. And also, your story right there in general, like you just mentioned, you've been working 15, 16 for 8 years, just grinding, just going after it. And now you can almost enjoy the fruits of your labor. And
exactly. You can breathe.
So,
find myself in Vail, Colorado.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That story in itself, for anyone that's listening or watching, this is the perfect example. Chris Laque is the perfect example of sticking to what you're passionate about, being consistent, being hardworking, going for it, pushing to do whatever it is that you need to get done. And eventually you will be able to reap the fruits of your labor and taste that success that you have been achieving or pushing to achieve for so long. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. So now I just want to ask, we've talked a lot about your work and, how you achieve the success and everything, but outside of work, and I know you kind of a little bit told me you guys like to hike and you guys like to do snowboarding, but what do you like to do outside of the kitchen?
Just super outdoorsy for most of it. That's been another thing that's been pretty awesome about Colorado is there's just inspiration for you everywhere you go. So on our second trip that we took hiking out here, I collected some birch and some pine, and now I have a charred birch and pine vinaigrette just chilling, waiting to go. Or vinegar rather, that I'm gonna turn into a vinaigrette. But Yeah, it's very hard for me to separate the two,
No, it's
but
okay. I understand. It's also who you are, so you can't
yeah,
deny that.
takes a lot. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely an altitude junkie. That's one of the things that I've come to figure out here. I love to reach those mountaintops.
Hmm.
The view is absolutely astounding. I mean, you feel like you can just conquer the world when you get out there, and like, that's incredible. Definitely a bit of an adrenaline junkie. Looking to get a dirt bike out here.
Okay.
Bit of a musician. I haven't picked up my guitar as frequently as I should, but yeah, I just like to hang outside, relax, have a good time with our dogs. We got a big 80-pound husky or a big 80-pound pit bull, and a little husky mix. It's
Oh,
Grim and Lila. So I like to
oh,
take them out and have fun.
that's nice. That's really nice. Okay, so now that we've gotten a little bit about that, I'm going to switch back into asking about the food. One thing I'm curious about, and I'm sure anyone that's listening to your story is probably curious about, being that you have achieved this kind of success, would you say, or have you cooked for anyone that is quote unquote a celebrity or famous?
Yeah, like I said, we've had the Dallas Mavericks and
Right.
Big Ten floor officials.
Like
Mm,
anyone in particular that sticks out, or
gotta recall. Let's see. Snoop Dogg came through. He bought out like a whole floor
okay.
for himself.
Wow, that's really cool. How was that experience?
I mean, I am a chef because I'm an introvert. I don't really like. This is the most probably outwards you'll see me is talking online. I don't like to make my presence known very much, but yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool to hear these guys like rolling through,
Yeah,
treating our team well.
that's
Like
really
Red Bull
cool.
stopped through and just dropped off like cases and cases of Red Bull for like the entire staff. Like that's pretty cool.
That's really nice. That's really nice. I'm sure it's probably been like, for anyone that isn't, introverted, I'm sure it'd be like, oh my gosh, the craziest thing that could happen. But
Yeah. I'm just trying to hide away and make my food.
just mind your food. You make the food and you mind your business. That's what they say these days.
Correct.
All right. Well,
Absolutely.
that's really cool. So, also, I wanted to ask you, over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, I know you're only 24 and you have achieved this type of, or this level of success. Over the course of the next 5 to 10 years, where do you hope to see yourself or your business or whatever it is that you want to do when it comes to being a chef?
You know, that's actually a super huge crux that I'm dealing with right now. 'Cause I see a couple of different paths that I could possibly take. Um, since I've gone so far and worked so hard in the industry, I definitely see myself going for some Michelin stars in the future. I definitely want my own restaurant, well, a little cafe bakery. Shy, my fiance, and I have talked about opening up a little bakery called the Shy Fox, or the Foxhole.
Oh,
He's super cute.
that's so
But
cute.
yeah, so we've thought about doing things like that. I've also thought about taking a step back from cooking and going into the military,
Okay.
hitting up the Marine branch and maybe cooking for them or something like that. Just because I want access to all the things that come with being a veteran, like your VA loan. That's a huge tool for business owners that
Okay.
are starting out to be able to use.
Wow.
So I could definitely do 4 years in the Marines, come out, use the VA loan, start my own restaurant, go for Michelin stars, or I could just apply for my own loan and see how far cooking takes me. I haven't quite decided yet.
Okay. Awesome. That's really good to know. I wish you all the best in whatever it is that you definitely decide to do. We know that you'll definitely be a success. And I know with Valiant magazine, I mentioned this at the last podcast, but they are always looking to reach back out and see people that they have featured and your story and how well you're doing so far. So it'll be great to come back in the next 5 to 10 years and just be like, how you doing, Chris? We've been hearing about you doing this and doing that, and you have your own restaurant. That'll be really, really cool. So I look forward to that. All right. So I do want to ask one last question. Is there anything that you would like to say to anyone that is just getting started, wanting to be a chef, or even just starting a business that they're passionate in? What would you recommend, or what advice would you give them to do?
First bit of advice would be 100% sure what you want to do.
Okay.
You can't commit to something if you haven't committed to it for yourself yet. But once you have that goal, just keep at it. Stay hungry. Keep working for it. It's hard and it's rough work, and there are going to be days where you don't even want to get out of bed, but you do, and you keep pushing. And one day, whether it be 8 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, it will pay off. You just gotta keep pushing. Stay hungry. Keep going. Don't let go.
That's nice. I like that. Thank you so much. I hope you guys heard that. If you are trying to start anything today, if you are, passionate about whatever it is that you're passionate about, make sure that you keep pushing, stay hungry, go for it, don't give up, and just push through, because you will achieve that success eventually, no matter what, as long as you stay hungry and you stay consistent and you keep pushing. So thank you so much for that advice, Chris. All right, so where can we find you on social media? Where can anyone that's looking to, I don't know, maybe go to the restaurant where you had that, the menu written at, or where you are on social media, where can we find you?
So again, being private introvert, this is one of my weak suits. But you can find me on Instagram at chef.laque. That's usually my go-to page. That's where I post all my kind of foodie stuff. You can visit Spoken Steel for sure in Indianapolis. It's right off of Illinois and Georgia Street, right next to Henry and Izzy's and St. Elmo's. I believe they should still be running that menu. It's been a while now, but yeah, should be running still. Otherwise, yeah, just keep updated with my Instagram. You can see where I end up in Vail, because I have a couple of different opportunities that I'm exploring. I haven't picked my definite home out here yet. But once I do, I will put it on my Insta, and you guys are welcome to come out, see me, say hi.
Awesome.
Always happy to reach out.
That's really cool. I'm excited. I feel like we'll definitely be hitting you up, Valiant Magazine, just because, I don't know if you know this, they do state-to-state issues. So they haven't done Colorado yet. I've been tagging along with them for a while now. So we haven't hit Colorado. So hopefully we'll be out there and we can come to whatever restaurant that it is that you will be, working at. So that would be really cool.
Please do. That'd be awesome.
All right. So actually, I wanted to ask you this last question. I know we just almost ended, but I wanted to ask this last question. What is the one meal or food, whatever it is that you want to call it, that you would say is probably your most favorite, or the one that was the most popular?
My favorite to eat for me personally, or my favorite, or like what has been the biggest hitters in the menus?
Both.
My favorite to eat changes like the weather. I'm on a super big Korean kick right now, so I just had some Korean meatballs that blew me away.
Wow.
But as far as the best hitters on my menu itself have been, the lamb meatball did really well. So I did, cow tongue also sold super well. So I did the house sourdough focaccia with the braised cow tongue, cornichons, a fermented mustard vinaigrette, and pearl onions. And that was super tasty. That sold super well. That was farm to table too. Came from Fisher Farms in Indiana. And in the lamb meatball, yeah. So the lamb meatball, we did our house braided challah, the spicy tomato cream, a little bit of earth seasoned lamb meatballs, and that was it. Broiled cheese on top, fresh mozzarella. Super simple. It's just broiled in a cast iron. You take the bread, dip it.
Oh my Lord, that sounds so good. I'm a big foodie, so I will definitely be going to Indianapolis. It's 2 hours away from me, so I will go out there just to try that menu. That sounds so good.
Yeah, do it for sure.
All right. I think that's everything that I want to ask and talk to Chris about. Again, is there one last thing that you would like to say, or you feel good?
I'm good.
All right. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking a listen to Valiant Minds podcast. Again, you can find us at Valiant's magazine website, their Instagram, and their Facebook. Valiant Minds podcast is also streaming on wherever you listen to a podcast. So it could be Apple's podcast, Spotify, Breaker, Google, radio, whatever it may be, it is out there. So make sure you take a listen to all previous episodes and let us know how you feel about this episode as well. If you want to ask Chris more questions about whatever it is that he got going on, you can find him on his Instagram at chef.laque.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. Chef.laque is where you can find him. And try anything that he has going on at Stilo Restaurant in Indianapolis, correct?
Spoken Steel.
Spoken Steel. I don't know why I said Stilo.
Last name is also spelled Laque. It's a bit weird.
Laque. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you again, Chris. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for the opportunity. Hope you all have an awesome day too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.